Good YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, we got some interesting news regarding undefeated 3-division world champion, former junior welterweight undisputed world champion, currently the WBO welterweight world champion, who is widely considered by many to be the top #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world, in Terence Bud Crawford. Now, that has changed as of late because there's a lot of people that look at Terence Crawford, and due to his inactivity, due to the lack of him not having that huge legacy fight against, a career-defining opponent, people have dropped Terence Crawford on the pound-for-pound list, okay? His direct rival, undefeated, unified WBC, IBF, welterweight world champion, superstar boxer, Earl of Truth Spence Jr., who is going into legacy-defining fight against 8-division legendary iconic Filipino superstar boxer, who is the WBA super champion in the welterweight division, Manny Pac-Man Pacquiao, that's scheduled to take place August 21st. With that said, Terence Crawford has yet to secure a fight of that magnitude. Okay, so now we have Terence Crawford in a position where, at 33 years of age, he'll be 34 in September. Everybody's expecting to see him. He's in the absolute prime of his career. Before you know it, he'll be on the back end of his career. And you want to see Terence Crawford in these big fights. Well, legendary promoter, top-ranked CEO and promoter Terence Crawford, Bob Arum, he just don't see value in Terence Crawford to put up big money because he don't believe he'll get a return on his investment. Plain and simple. So they just don't have interest in putting up big money for Terence Crawford. With that said, now Terence Crawford, he's been seeking out a fight with Manny Pacquiao for the better part of 6 years, has yet to come to fruition. With that said, now Terence Crawford is set to be a free agent in October. Bob Arum, he stated that they could have made the Manny Pacquiao fight, but they didn't see a possibility or a light at the end of the tunnel where they'll get a return on their investment, so they just didn't make it happen. Now Terence Crawford is set to be a free agent in October. Well, guess what? October 23rd, Bob Arum and company have announced that Terence Crawford will be making his ring return October 23rd. More than likely, it's going to be against Zepeda, okay? With that said, there's 3 options Bob Arum says is on the table for Terence Crawford. It was Zepeda, Regis Prograis, former IBF junior welterweight world champion, and former unified junior welterweight world champion, Jose Ramirez. Okay, so those were the 3 options. Jose Ramirez, he's coming off of a bad loss in an undisputed match with Josh Taylor, in which he lost. He was dropped twice. Josh Taylor won the unanimous decision victory. Josh Taylor, he also beat Regis Prograis to take his belt. That was the first unification bout that Josh Taylor had. And you have Zepeda, okay? With that said, we know Josh Taylor, he has interest in facing off against Terence Crawford at 147. He plans on moving up to 147 and challenging Terence Crawford so you can have a storyline of the last 2 undisputed junior welterweight world champions. What's ironic about this is if Josh Taylor is signed to Top Rank, so if Terence Crawford does not re-sign with Top Rank in October, if this is indeed October 23rd is indeed the last fight for Terence Crawford on Top Rank, well, then that means that Terence Crawford would still have to do business with Top Rank to make a Josh Taylor fight come to fruition because Josh Taylor is signed to Top Rank. Okay, so with that said, Terence Crawford looking to do a fight-by-fight basis, or is he looking to, most people want him to sign with the PBC, Premier Boxing Champions, with founder and advisor Al Heyman, so what's going to be, the future for Terence Crawford, okay? Everybody wants to see Terence Crawford now in his skill set. He's able to switch from orthodox to southpaw. He's rangy, 5'8" with a 74-inch arm reach. He has power. He has knockout his last 6 opponents. Okay, so we know that Terence Crawford is the goods. But you just want to see Terence Crawford display that talent against the upper echelon, the best that there is to offer, okay? And he just haven't had the opportunity, okay? Terence Crawford just hasn't had the opportunity to face off against, a high-level, high-quality opponent, okay? And that's unfortunate. that's unfortunate, okay? Because Terence Crawford, you can clearly see, has the skill set. You can clearly see, Terence Crawford has the goods, and it's unfortunate that even in this case, Bob Arum is offering Terence Crawford 3 junior welterweights, okay? 2 guys that lost to Josh Taylor in Regis Prograis and Jose Ramirez. Now, Regis Prograis, he did, come back. He had some wins. He came back and had some good wins in his career. So since losing Regis Prograis, he has won against Juan Heraldez. He got a TKO victory against Juan Heraldez. Then he got a TKO victory against Ivan Redcash. So he has gotten back in the win column. But Jose Ramirez, he's coming directly off of a loss to Josh Taylor. Okay, Jose Ramirez, 26 wins, 1 loss, 0 draws, 17 wins by way of knockout. But that loss is his last fight against Josh Taylor. Okay, he's 28 years of age, stands at 5'10" with a 72-inch arm reach. Okay, and he lost bad to Josh Taylor. Okay, it was competitive for the first few rounds, in my opinion, but I believe in the back half of the fight, he started to, wear down. Josh Taylor started to switch levels, fighting on the inside and on the outside, breaking him down, dropping him, hitting him with combinations. And it looked like he was on the verge of getting stopped at some point in time in the fight as well, so it was a bad loss. So he's directly going to come off that bad loss to go into a fight with Terence Crawford. Okay. It's just not, it's just not a lucrative situation when it comes to Terence Crawford, okay? Terence Crawford should be fighting the absolute best there is to offer. There was talks of Bob Arum was asked about 2-time welterweight world champion, superstar boxer, Showtime Sean Porter fighting Terence Crawford, who at the time, at one point in time this year, he was the #1 mandatory challenger for the WBO title for Terence Crawford. And Bob Arum says that's a great fight, but who's going to put the money up? So again, Bob Arum let it be known that they don't see a return on their investment when it comes to Terence Crawford, okay? They're not willing to put the money up. Bob Arum also was asked about a fight between Terence Crawford, his fighter, and former unified WBC, WBA welterweight world champion superstar boxer Keith one-time Thurman. And once again, Bob Arum says, who's going to put the money up? It's a good competitive fight, but who's going to pay for it? Then he stated that they can find, that being Terence Crawford and Keith Thurman, can find another promoter to put the money up, and he'll guarantee he'll buy a ticket ringside. He'll be ringside to watch them lose money. Wow. Bob Arum also stated that he's lost so much money on Terence Crawford, he could build a mansion in Beverly Hills from scratch. So it's abundantly clear they have no confidence that they can, that Terence Crawford is a draw and they could get a return on their investment. Terence Crawford, he did have 2 pay-per-view matches where he fought Victor Postile, but it wasn't very lucrative. It only did 60,000 pay-per-view. Now, Zepeda, he's on a 4-fight winning streak. He beat Hammer Hank Lundy in his last fight. That was May of this year. He also beat Ivan Baranchyk. That was an action-packed fight. That was fight of the year fight. He got a KO victory. He beat Kendo Costenda. That was unanimous decision victory. Okay, and he beat Jose Pedraza, unanimous decision. Okay, prior to that, he got a no contest with Valenzuela, and prior to that, he lost to Jose Ramirez. Okay, so Zepeda, 34 wins, 2 losses, no draws, 26 wins by way of knockout. One time in his career, he was knocked out. He's 32 years of age, stands at 5'8" with a 70-inch arm reach. He was knocked out in his career by Terry Flanagan. That was back in 2015. Okay. Since then, he's been on a fight winning streak. He lost a majority decision to Jose Ramirez. It's not the worst fight, but it's, not the most competitive fight when you're dealing with a guy of Terence Crawford's stature. When you're dealing with a guy of Terence Crawford's stature, you expect Terence Crawford to be in there with the absolute best. You want to see him in there with obviously Errol Spence. That's the biggest fight in the sport of boxing. You want to see him in there with Sean Porter. You want to see him in there with Keith Thurman. That's the level of opponents you want to see Terence Crawford in the ring with. With that said, it doesn't seem like that's going to happen anytime soon. what's interesting to see is if he owe Top Rank one more fight. Is that why he's fighting in October? Because he's a free agent in October. This is the end. October 23rd is the end of October. Okay, there's only 1 week left in the month, so that's the end of October. Okay, does he owe them a fight, or is it a time situation? It seems like it's a fight. Okay, so it's looking like Jose Zepeda is going to be the opponent for Terence Crawford. And maybe this is the opponent that Terence Crawford has signed off on because he sees himself walking out the door and he doesn't want to commit to giving them a big fight. So we got to see how this unfolds and plays out. I can't see it being Jose Ramirez because Jose Ramirez is coming off of a big loss. He needs to rectify and get his career back on track. I don't see why he would or his team would allow himself to go into a fight with Terence Crawford after the way he lost to Josh Taylor. And then, as I stated, Regis Prograis, he's on a fight-by-fight basis. He's a free agent. He fights wherever he so chooses. But that's a pretty big fight. And what does Regis Prograis have to give Top Rank on the back end? Does he have to give them a 2-fight deal, 3-fight deal if he gets a fight with Terence Crawford and a title opportunity? And all these guys are junior welterweights. They're all going to be making their debut at welterweight against Terence Crawford. Don't bode well for him in his career. Not to mention, this is happening in the end of October. So that means that Terence Crawford is going to fight once in 2021. I'll say it again. Terence Crawford is only going to fight once in 2021. And the last time, it's going to be nearly a year since he was in the ring. He last fought against IBF former world champion British superstar boxer Kell Brook. That was November 14th. Okay? By the time he steps in the ring, October 23rd, he's going to be 3 weeks shy of a year. So 11 months and a week, he would have been out the ring by the time he makes his next ring return. It's not good what's happening in Terence Crawford in his career. But make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. Hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.
Hi, my name is Heather the Heat Hardy, and you're watching Blue Blood Sports TV.